Hey everyone. Today we'll coordinate a simultaneous content release for a new service launch using Kontent.ai's in-app agent. So let's consider Karma Health is launching a new Cardiovascular Innovation Center on November 15th. But we have more than a single campaign or a single landing page to promote this service. We have some supporting collateral in the form of blog posts, articles, some call to action content items, some pages, people, and events to help bolster the release of this new service. Now, traditionally, this means a lot of spreadsheets, a lot of Slack messages or Teams threads, and a ton of manual coordination to make sure everything is reviewed, that it's ready, and that the scheduling of the publications is all aligned and goes off without a hitch. But let me show you how we can speed this process up with Kontent.ai's in-app agent. The first part of setting up a coordinated release is I want to create a content release content type. And this content type will act as an aggregate of all of those related pieces of content that deal with the new Cardiology Innovation Center. We'll link those items in a linked items element called release items. And we'll also provide some internal descriptions and metadata that'll help us audit our releases later and make the release more discoverable for our content teams. Now let's jump over to the agentic part of this. Instead of manually hunting down all the content items related to my release, assessing the readiness, adding internal descriptions and dates, and performing some of these tasks manually, I'm going to have the agent perform these tasks while I do other work in the background. So first, I'm going to drop in a prompt that says we're creating a coordinated content release for November 15th. We're adding the cardiovascular innovation services to our offering. And effectively, I want the agent to list each item with its content type, its current workflow status, and its last modified date. I want the agent to decide if the item is ready to publish and in the approved status, or if it needs review. And for items that need review, I also want it to do some triage and let me know what content items should I prioritize prior to getting this release put together. So let's run that. And just to look forward to the next prompt while this works, once I get this aggregate list and I determine that the content items related to this release are approved and ready for publication, the next step would be having the agent relate those items together in the content release and schedule the service launch for November 15th. So the agent is looking for the related content items right now. And it says that there are 9 items ready to publish. And it's going to start listing out those particular items that it found. And it also provides some direct links to the content items. That way I can do a review immediately instead of having to manually hunt down everything related to this particular release. So we have some already published items right now. That's okay. I'm probably not going to add these to the release. It gives me some triage recommendations. So high priority to review the patient story, finding hope, verify the event details of the grand opening of the release, and then some strategic notes about this particular content. So let's say I did diligence here. I looked through these particular content items and I decided, okay, I want these to be included in that release. My next prompt is going to say, create a new content release item that adds this list as release items. And let's target that release date for November 15th. So this is going to go through and create the actual content release content items and start dropping these related items in the linked items element. While this is working in the background, I also want to take a look at a page that I've put together here that's looking for content releases in my CMS environment. So when this content release is available, it should show up on this page. And this is something that I built on the side. It's just a really simple React page that queries the CMS for content items of the release type. But this could be a really valuable resource to your content team for the future. If they wanted to do some content release auditing and they wanted a nice page to look at everything that's been released with a particular type or by a particular date, or if you're very transparent with your external users or your public users, this could be like an update or news or releases page that you put on your flagship site. So let's see where the agent is. So the agent has created the service launch, November 2025. Let's check it out. I have the internal description talking about what's in this particular release. I see that the majority of the items are approved. I see one that's in draft, so this could be something that I want to investigate further, which is pretty easy. I could go in there and edit it. For the sake of example, I'll just say, okay, this is actually fine. We're going to bypass that step. I'm making an executive decision now. And let's say it looks good. I'm going to head over to the agent and say, schedule a November 15th publication at 9 a.m. for the release of every content item in this release. Now, what this will do is it should schedule that publish on the release itself and all of the subsequent items that are in the linked items element. Now, this is only acting on 10 items. So, I could manually go through, click each of them, schedule the publish within the inventory view or in the item itself. But when you start to think about doing this at scale, with maybe you have 30 items, 50 items that support a new product release or a new service offering, then you start to run into some bottlenecks in your content strategy and the flow, where this makes it a lot easier, a lot faster. And while the agent is working, I could be doing something else with the content or giving things a second look through. So it's scheduling these items, giving me a publication summary, and it's even providing me some next steps. I like seeing that there are no further actions needed for publication. This has come together really quickly. I'm going to refresh this content release. And we can see that the release itself is scheduled to publish on November 15th at 9 a.m. Oops, sorry, this is the Innovation Center content item. What I'm really looking for is the service launch here. In the service launch, let's reload this. Now all the items in the release are scheduled. And if I take a look at my content releases page that I created, now I have a content item that I can query that contains all of the details about what was included in the release. So let's recap what we just saw. With the Agentic CMS, the agent can find the content related to the release. It can assess the workflow readiness. It can orchestrate coordinated publishing via a content release item across those related items to the release. And the CMS now has a content item that can provide an audit trail to releases that can be referenced later. For organizations managing regulatory updates, seasonal campaigns, or service launches, this really transforms content operations from a chaotic manual coordination process into a more proactive AI-assisted orchestration of that release. And that really aligns with Kontent.ai's vision of Agentic CMS. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I'm happy to answer or talk more about this subject. Thanks.